Hi, this is Coach Dresser, and welcome to our March newsletter. ACC time of year. You're going to be able to go to Hokiesports.com right away and check out bracket sheets for this weekend's tournament. I'm shooting this on Wednesday. We leave on Friday and we compete on Saturday at the ACC Championships in Chapel Hill at the University of North Carolina. So I want to talk a little bit about that. I want to talk about each weight real quick, give you kind of an idea of what we expect. But before I do that, I want to talk about this year's team a little bit. First off, obviously it's a team that we didn't foresee. It's been a year of injuries, an unbelievable amount of injuries. But with that said, you have two choices. You can whine and cry about it, or you can go on. And these guys did a great job of going on. We've got some guys in there that got an opportunity that probably didn't think they were going to get an opportunity. And I'll tell you what, they made the most of it. So on paper, it's a much different look to going into the ACC tournament than we thought we'd see as a coaching staff. We went from probably being favored to not being favored. So we've got our work cut out for us. But with that said, I know we're not favored to win it. We're not even favored to get first or second. I still like this team. I like what I've seen the last couple weeks. We've made some adjustments. We've moved some guys around a little bit, had some wrestle-offs. But I still like the guys that we're taking, and I think we can do some damage. So we'll see. We'll be the judge of that on Monday. At 125, we went with Eric Spute over Ty Mitch. Both guys did a good job for us this year. Not a great job, but it's a funny thing about wrestling is if you don't have a great season, just finish the season well, and all of a sudden you have a great season. So I told all these guys that are getting ready to compete that you're 0-0 right now. Your season started all over after our last dual meet against Americans. So that's our mindset going in. So Ty Mitch's status, he tore his labrum in his shoulder months ago. We've been nursing it, milking it, whatever you want to call it. It just wasn't ready to go. And these guys are close. I'm not saying that Eric Spute wouldn't have got the spot maybe anyway. These two guys are close, so I got confidence in these guys. We're not going to get a high seed at 125. Eric Spute might get the 6th seed out of 6 guys. But I still have a good feeling that he can get some wins for us and get it done for us this weekend. So it'll be interesting to see how Eric competes. Again, I'm not even sure of his draw right now at this point because we don't know where he's going to fall in the seed. Everywhere else I have a pretty good idea. So Eric Spute's our guy at 125, 133. Devin Carter's probably our only top seed of the tournament, which I thought I'd never say at the beginning of the year. But, with the redshirt of Garnett and the injury to Dong and Maroney, and it is what it is. Devin Carter at 133, is only a true sophomore going for a second ACC title, and we expect Devin to roll. 141, Zach Nybert's going to get the 3rd seed. Gets a rematch, hopefully in the semifinals with North Carolina State, who we lost a close match to earlier. I'm excited. Zach's wrestling well. Zach's excited. His weight's under control. It's go time for Zach. So Zach Nybert's usually a gamer, so we'll see what happens this Saturday. At 149, our true freshman just keeps getting better and better all the time. Nick Bruschetta, we're not quite sure where he's going to get seated because he did miss about 7 or 8 weeks with that high ankle sprain from the Ohio State match. But I still like this guy. I do think he's a sleeper. So, you never know how young guys react to pressure and being in the ACC tournament and stuff like that. But I still like Nick Bruschetta. No clue who he's going to get a draw here. It's kind of like 125. We'll see. I'll know tonight just like you'll know tonight if you get on Hokiesports.com. 157, we went with Cameron Hurd. We just felt like Cameron Hurd was the most consistent guy between him and Matt Stevens. I think he's been this close to beating a lot of really good guys. It looks like he's probably going to get the NC State guy. Cameron will get the 4th seed, so we get the 5th seed first round, the NC State guy who he's won a close match against. And then hopefully he can get a rematch with the top seed Mock from North Carolina, who we almost got in the dual meet. So I like Cameron's attitude right now and his energy, and so this is a good opportunity. He was a guy that probably didn't think he'd be here, but here he is. At 165, Pete Yates, again, I think is wrestling like he was wrestling before Midlands. If you follow it, you know what that means. So we're excited about Pete. Get the 2nd seed. He's going to get a pretty tough customer from UVA in the semis we can't overlook. And then hopefully he gets a shot at Asper, the number 1 seed from Maryland, who's the number 2 ranked guy in the nation. So 165 is a tough weight at the ACC. 174, Chris Moon is another guy, that just I like. He keeps getting better. I've said it before, he's definitely an undersized 174. He's going to get the 3rd seed. as a sophomore, a true sophomore. So, I have a good feeling about Chris's weekend as well. 184 is the weight that's really been up in the air as of late. We had a wrestle off this week. Angelo Malvestuto got the spot. He's been a little bit at 84, a little bit at 97. Both those guys have been winning and losing, a little inconsistent. So we'll see. Angelo's going to get the 4th seed, I think, and we'll see what he can do. I'm curious to see. This is a great opportunity. This is why you go to college and wrestle. 197, Nick Vetterline will get the 3rd seed. Again, Nick's first year in the lineup, inconsistent is the best way to describe his season. But again, it's all about getting hot at the end of the year. So we'll see how Nick reacts to the ACC tournament and being the 3rd seed. And then heavyweight, Chris Penny was a guy, again, that I know didn't think he was going to be here because of a potential redshirt and David Maroney being a 5th-year senior, but it is what it is. And he's really done a good job. He's won. His winning percentage is in the 70% this year. Beat some good guys. He's the 2nd seed. Man, what a year from bumping up to 197 to heavyweight. And so I'm curious to see what Chris can do this weekend. He's this close to beating a lot of really, really good guys, and he's pulling the trigger a lot more this year to do that. So, all in all, this team has really overachieved, and this weekend's really about overachieving. So if you can't come see us on ESPN3, and we're excited. We're going to go for it. We're going to try to win it. We're not supposed to, but you know what? We think we got a shot. Thanks. Okay, I want to talk real quick about some housekeeping things. Had people email and ask about ACC's NCAA tournament, so I'll just start here in order. We will have a bus that will be leaving this Saturday morning to go to Chapel Hill. They'll stop in Christiansburg and they'll stop in Roanoke. So if anybody's looking for a ride, make sure you contact Sarah. Again, Sarah can be emailed at bunger, B-U-N-G-E-R, @vt.edu. So it's a great opportunity to get to the ACC Championships. Wrestling starts at 11. The semifinals are at 1. I think the finals are at 7. Also, ESPN3 is going to cover this thing. So I don't want to tell you that because I'd rather have you show up. But you can watch it on ESPN3, which I'm pretty sure is an online service, but it'll be live. So if you can't make it to Chapel Hill, check us out on ESPN3. NCAA Championships. We do have tickets left. Again, you need to email Sarah quickly if you want those, because those are going to be shipped back to the NCAA next week. We do also have some rooms available. We do have a couple rooms available that just popped open, so we'll take care of those on a first come, first serve. I think the rooms are real good. They're right across the street from the trade center where the venue is. So we're excited about that as well. So that's the 2 big events we've got coming up. Hope you get a chance to see us. The Hokie Mat Club will have social in St. Louis at the NCAA Championship. So again, Sarah's your contact there, or you can shoot me an email. That's what's going on. Hope to see you. Okay, in this part I want to talk real quick about our incoming freshmen, because I've had some emails and something that actually people have been requesting since November when we signed them. So let me tell you a little bit as these guys get ready to go into their final weekends of the season. I think just about all of them compete either this weekend coming up or in the next week or two. So our recruiting class, I can only talk about 4 of them because we've only signed 4 of them at this point. We've got some commitments and some guys that are probably going to walk on. But NCAA rules prohibit me from talking about those guys, but I can talk about these 4 guys, and I'll start from littlest to biggest. First off, wrestling at 152 pounds this year in New Jersey, Sal Mastriani is a guy from Don Bosco Prep, same high school as Nicky Vetterline. We're excited about all 4 of these guys, I can tell you that. And Sal Mastriani, unusual, he was a middle linebacker for the #1 ranked high school football team in the nation. So when you're 152 pounds, I think he weighed about 165 plus when he did that. But this guy's a tough guy. He's getting ready. He's ranked #1 in the state of New Jersey. Just won his regions last weekend. I think he placed 4th last year. Was a guy that's come down and been to camp before. That's how we got excited about Sal. So I know he's going for a state title this weekend. We wish him the best. Probably be a 157 pounder in college. The next guy from Ohio, same high school as the Bruschetta and Stevens connection, Houston Evans, is wrestling at 182 pounds this weekend. Probably a 174 pounder, maybe a 184 pounder in college. Houston's a state champ and a state runner-up already in Ohio, and a state placer, ranked in the top 7 or 8 in the nation at his weight class. Houston's a very athletic guy, just like 157 Mastriani. He won his district, regions, whatever he had last weekend. His state championships are coming up this weekend. So he's a guy that obviously we're real excited about there as well. And then we got two big guys. You're probably wondering, well, why'd you sign two heavyweights? Well, we've got a method to our madness that I can share later. But we've got two big guys that we're real excited about coming in. Actually, one of them's a 220 pounder. In high school, they have a weight class 220. And his name is Ty Walls. He's from St. Ed's out of Ohio, which is a national powerhouse, second ranked team in the nation this year. His high school coach is actually a teammate of mine from Iowa. But Ty is getting ready to compete at his state championships this weekend. He's also ranked, I think, top 5 in the nation at 220 pounds. So we're excited about Ty Walls from Ohio. And then last but not least is a young man from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. State runner-up last year, Pennsylvania. If you know anything about Pennsylvania wrestling, you know that that's probably the toughest state tournament in the nation. This guy is very unusual. He's 6'9", 238 pounds right now. Obviously, we think that frame can put on a lot of weight and really help us in the future. So we've got some unusual plans for Dawson. His name's Dawson Peck, and we'll see what happens with Dawson and how big he gets and how he's going to help this team. So there's 4 guys that we're real excited about at Virginia Tech. Dawson's getting ready to go for his state title in the second weekend of March. That's when always Pennsylvania has their state tournament. He just beat the defending state champion this past weekend in a tournament, a qualifying tournament. So that's 4 future Hokies. But we're going to talk about the other guys, the guys that didn't get talked about a lot here, and I'm going to kind of go from 125 all the way up and give you the status of everybody that you're not going to see wrestle for us this Saturday at Chapel Hill at the ACC tournament. So kind of a different look, and trust me, these guys have been in the room all year long and have done a good job, done a great job, in fact, in getting these guys ready and obviously getting themselves ready for the opportunity, because that's what, I always tell them, it's all about getting a chance to go to the NCAA tournament, to be an All-American, to be a national champ. In order to do that, you got to be one of those 10 guys that represent us at the ACC tournament. So in a minute, we'll talk about those 10 guys, but I want to start out by talking about the guys that didn't get that opportunity for whatever reason, whether they were a backup or a redshirt. So if I start out at 125 pounds, in terms of a backup, Matt Peters from New York did a really good job for us. It was his second year. He was kind of a guy that was on the bubble. I didn't really know if he was going to be able to be disciplined enough to stick with us all year. And Matt's done a good job. He placed at some opens this year for us, so he's a guy that can make 25 again. Definitely going to help us out next year. The other guy at 125, of course, a little bit more famous, is Gerard Garnett. Gerard had a great redshirt year. He finished his 4th year. I think everybody is glad that we did that with Gerard, and I think Gerard sees the point now of having a redshirt year, just growing up and kind of taking a step back and looking at everything. Do I think Gerard Garnett is good enough to be an All-American this year in 2012? Absolutely. Do I think he can really make an impact next year in 2013? Absolutely. And that's the reason we did what we did. So stay tuned with Gerard Garnett, but a great redshirt year. 133, true freshman Jordan O'Donnell, a walk-on from Richmond, did a good job for a freshman. He sees what it's all about now, so he needs to step it up a little bit. And we'll see how Jordan reacts. He needs to have a great spring, a great summer, and we'll see what happens. He was a guy that, got in. He might have placed in 1 or 2 opens, but he got tons of experience and tons of matches, and that's what we need to do for first-year guys. 141 didn't have a lot of depth. You can see where our focus is going to be with recruiting. 149, probably the guy to talk about, and I'm just really going to talk about the guys that finished the year that aren't going to the ACC tournament with us, is Lex Ozias. Lex Ozias is a redshirt freshman. He redshirted this year from Maryland, and Lex did a great job for us. Really turned it on the last couple months, starting to understand, starting to buy in. Lex has got tons of athletic ability. He really started changing his style and kept scoring and kept scoring and kind of stopped wrestling lazy like I told him I thought he was wrestling early on. So we think the sky's the limit with this guy if he continues to improve and continue to buy into what we're selling him every day. At 157, we've got three guys to talk about. And the first guy everybody's familiar with, Jesse Dong. I know people want an update and a report on Jesse Dong. Jesse Dong is in his fourth year, of course. Severely tore his labrum early in the season in early November. In fact, tore it to the degree that the doctor said he's never seen a shoulder like this. Needed 5 anchors, anchors in his shoulder, basically, to put him back together. The good news is he had that surgery in December. He's coming along great. Jesse works real hard at rehab. Jesse works real hard at everything. And we expect him on the mat late this summer, early in the fall. Plenty of time for Jesse to make a heck of a run his 5th year. So that's where Jesse Dong is. 2 young guys, 2 freshmen to talk about at 157. Matt Stevens from Ohio did a good job for us. Saw a lot of varsity competition when Jesse got hurt. And then Chad Struby, also true freshman, kind of a unique story. Chad Struby from Maryland took a year off after high school. Just felt like he wasn't physically ready to go to college wrestling. And then he joined us this past summer, came in and trained a little bit with us. Excuse me, and then did a good job for us this year. He just won a tournament, an open tournament. This past weekend, the National Collegiate Open, Lex Ozias got second. Gerard Garnett won. It was a pretty good little tournament a week or so ago in Richmond. And Chad Struby won at 157 pounds. So we feel like we've got the right kind of depth at 157. At 165, true freshman Isaiah Meade. Isaiah did a good job for us this year. Isaiah, kind of like Jordan O'Donnell, he's got to figure it out a little bit now. He saw what Division I wrestling was like, and let's see what happens in the spring and summer with Isaiah to see what kind of commitment he's got to trying to make some steps there. At 174, Bubba Sheffield is a guy that probably people kind of might have forgot about. Unfortunately, Bubba had a knee surgery late last summer that just didn't go the way we wanted it to go. He was kind of back in the lineup a little bit and then re-injured it. And Bubba was frustrated. We were frustrated. We just didn't get the kind of medical help or the medical results that we wanted to get there. So the good news is I think he's be ready to go in April. He's a guy that we're excited about. Of course, we didn't get to see him wrestle much. He's from Maryland. We'll see. Another guy that's a freshman there at 174. We don't know how long this guy will stay at 174, but Austin Gable from Colorado did a really good job. Tons of ability, tons of athleticism. We need to figure out a way to diminish his injury-prone itis that he seems to have, but he's a guy that if he toughens up, I'm telling you, this guy can wrestle. So we just need to figure out a way to toughen him up and make sure we keep him on the mat. So we're excited about Austin Gable. At 184, we just had a wrestle-off this week. And Angelo Malvestuto is going to be our guy at the ACCs. I'll talk more about that in a minute. But in the meantime, John Dixon, to talk about John Dixon, he had a good year for us. Wrestled a lot of varsity, the majority of the varsity at 184. John's just finished his 3rd year, real hard worker. John's got to continue to focus on getting better wrestling. And if he does that, he's a guy that can continue to help us. He'll have 2 years left, and one of those years is a redshirt year. At 197, a freshman, walk-on freshman from Chesapeake, Darren Hankins, kind of just like some of those other young guys I mentioned, got his feet wet. Now he knows a little bit about Division I wrestling. We'll see kind of what he's all about. At heavyweight, again, it's kind of the same situation. 2 guys that got a lot of experience, did okay for us in opens, won a few, lost a few. Dan Garwood from New Jersey, a true freshman, and Bob Lavelle, a 2nd-year guy from Pennsylvania. Bob's the guy that might go down to 197 next year. We'll see. But did a good job for us. And last and of course not least is David Maroney. David Maroney's status. A lot of people email me, want to know what the heck's going on with David Maroney. David Maroney is a 5th-year senior, getting ready to graduate here in May. However, because of his injury situation, David might get granted a 6th year. Looks like he will get granted a 6th year. The question is if he's going to take it. David's a very sharp guy and has some options. He has to figure a few things out. He's getting married. Got a lot of good things going on in his life right now. we're hoping wrestling is one more of those good things in his life. So we'll keep you up to date on that. He's going to have that option. So you'll see David Maroney around here some more in the future, I hope. So that's kind of the other guys, which I think deserve some airtime. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Stick around for some more segments of our March newsletter.